Good morning, everyone. Will Mosley here. I make films about the creative process, podcasts, all that stuff in between. And more specifically, if you're wondering how to create a film, how to start that process, I've been dedicating a lot of time to showing my behind the scenes workflow in Final Cut Pro. So if you want to hop over to my YouTube, or yeah, that's probably the best place to jump over to. Hop over to my YouTube if you search Hey Will Mosley. That's Mosley. You'll be able to kind of look right along with how to actually create films in post production. I've talked a lot about the filmmaking process, like actually production, but this is post production, just as important as production. So yeah, hop over there if you're interested in that. Want to help my creatives as much as I can. Okay, today's talk, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is going to be specifically about the iPhone XS Max, or even the XS. I mean, they're both the same. Max is just a little bit bigger screen. So, there's been probably 2 years of marketing going on in the back of my head for this phone. It's been on the radar for forever. So naturally, us like consumers, we talk ourselves into thinking that we need a lot of these things when ultimately we don't. I'm gonna talk in mad detail about this phone, about the pros and the cons and things that I think that anyone thinking about getting one should know. But ultimately, I want to say that for the amount that's being ultimately paid, which is about $1,500, if you're getting it because you think it's going to be the best camera ever, or it's going to be a really nice camera for at least filmmaking, I want to tell you, find something else. It's not worth $1,500 as far as the camera. The camera itself, there's a lot of different things that it does, a lot of cool things that it does, but now that I've been actually making films for the past 2 years, I know a good bit about like limitations and what's actually kind of going on behind the scenes, like ISO and aperture and shutter and all that stuff, and also sensor size, which is a big deal, big important part of the phone. And that actually is it's a tiny sensor, and it's actually a sensor made by Sony, funny enough. So if you're thinking about being in the market of like getting a point and shoot camera, like a handheld camera, the RX 105 is probably your best option. Not the 6. I mean, the 6 I haven't used, but it doesn't shoot at a lower. It shoots at a 2.8 instead of a 1.8, and telling you that 1.8 matters sometimes. But if you're thinking about this phone as not just a camera, but a way to isolate, get rid of everything else in your life, and pretty much live off your phone, I think this guy does it. I think this guy does it well. If I didn't code, and if I didn't create films, and maybe if I didn't design, I can get away with this phone as in the only piece of technology that I actually need. It does a lot of things really well. Sadly, the camera is good. It's not really well like I expected it to be. For photos, it does amazing with photos. There's nothing wrong with photos. But as far as a phone goes, it's the best phone that you've probably ever had until they release the next one. So as far as that goes, I can't be super negative because it does do a million other things other than being a camera, but because I bought it in the intention of using it as a replacement for my RX 105, um, it's hard not to feel a little bit slighted because of the camera quality. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the camera quality in a minute. If you need an e-commerce website and you really don't want to make it yourself, either code scares you or your design is, you don't feel confident in your design skills, or maybe security is a thought in your mind. You're wanting to make sure everything is nice and secure. I can create you an e-commerce store, a website on the weekend. Go over to heywillmosley.com to get started now. Okay, so why am I bagging so hard on the camera? The problem with the camera, and also my expectation, is they've pitched it up so high that like this is the remarkable, crazy, amazing camera, when it is doing a lot of crazy things, don't get it twisted. But if you were to compare it to what other people are comparing it to, or an equivalent, a $1,500 equivalent, you could easily get a full vlogging setup. We're talking about lenses, a pretty big camera, maybe with a full frame sensor, which is going to be roughly 2 or 3 times bigger than the one that's in the iPhone. You can also get a really nice audio mic to make sure your audio is great. Flip out screen is a big deal, so you can get a whole setup like that. Or if you want to go the point and shoot route, you literally could buy 2 RX 105s over, or you could even buy an RX 105 and an iPhone 7 or something like that off a marketplace, and still be able to kind of translate that. And you'd have really good video, and you'd have a pretty good phone. In hindsight, that's probably what I should have done. Now, the things that worked well with the iPhone, the specs that I was like really impressed with when I first opened it up and I was excited to shoot, was it shot 4K at 60 frames per second. That's a big deal. That's a lot of information. Like, none of the cameras that I've owned could shoot 4K with 60 frames. They could shoot 4K in 30 frames, or 1080 in 60 frames, or 1080 in 120, all that. But 4K at 60 frames, that's a pretty big leap, pretty big deal. That's a lot of information going on. I think the biggest drawback to this phone, I think that I'm having a hard time with, is the low light. And by low light, I mean like when you just step inside your house. Most of the lights are on in your house, but you just step inside your house, you immediately start to see grain, or the ISO that it puts into your film, or into your video, is very apparent. And I want it to, like the RX 100, you walk inside the house and it does beautifully because it's at 1.8, which is why I was surprised, because the sensor, or the aperture on the iPhone is a 1.8 too. So I was like, okay, 1.8, 1.8. They'll both do relatively the same in and out. But the problem comes with the sensor size, because the amount of light that's able to hit that sensor, it's technically not as much as what's hitting the Sony sensor. And so therefore it just doesn't equate. And also, like, putting up ISO in Like the Sony camera, like I put it up to 800 ISO, it still does good. I put the ISO up on the iPhone, like if I'm using Filmic Pro, and it turns to mush. Like you put it above 50 ISO and it starts like graining. So that's kind of tough. So what am I gonna do? I know you're kind of like kind of Debbie Down, iPhone Max, whatever. Well, I have the phone for ever, presumably. So instead of thinking about all the negatives and all the whatever, it's more about understanding the limitations and starting to understand how this can actually fit into your routine and your lifestyle for what you need it to do. My original expectations were this would fit into this phone, like my RX 100, would fit into my pocket, and whenever I didn't have my big camera on me, I could pull it out, whether I was indoor, outdoor, etc., and it would do quite well on both ends. The good is it does do well outdoors. It does really good. Um, the bokeh for video is like non-existent. So I know they pitched a high ass game about that too, but that was only for photos. It was only for photos that you're able to get the nice, beautiful bokeh, which is another sad disappointment. But I don't really care that much about that. Like my RX 100 wasn't the best with shallow depth of field. I mean, it did good, but it wasn't as good as my SL2. So I already kind of accepted my RX 100 as a wide angle camera, using it to get really nice, wide, high dynamic range shots. And the iPhone does that well. It does a really good at capturing all that detail, which I'm very impressed with, very surprised with, very happy with. So that's a win. That's a check. Second to that is it's also the front-facing camera is 1080p. 1080p at 60 frames per second is what it can do, and it looks really good. The speaker sound or the mic sounds pretty good on both ends. So those are both really good. Those are both really good. Not quite as good as the RX 100, but hey, it's good. Now, indoor, I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do about my indoor. I ended up setting up the lights again. I got so accustomed to not having to use lights, like big studio lights in the studio, because the RX 100 handled the low light really well, and it was more of a pain to set up and set down. So I ended up setting up all the lights in the studio. I made sure they were kid-proof, and by kid-proof I mean catty cornering the desk and the chair, and then putting the lights in that triangle behind that within that catty corner. It actually works really well. So now I can just turn them on and off without having to worry about the baby pulling them down and breaking them. So that's good. And I also, of course, turned on the camera and did a couple video tests yesterday with that lighting, and it looks good. So it's like one of those things where it's like you just gotta have light. You have to have studio lights on to do the video in-house, and I guess that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not anything crazy. It's just inconvenient. And then as far as the SL2, same setup, 24 mil, 50 mil. I did actually switch out I put the Zoom H4n Pro on there, I think for like a week. It was just getting annoying having to make sure the mic was on and off, even though the audio quality was good. It was an extra step, and it made me not use my camera as much because I was like, oh well, if the audio's not gonna be good, man, might as well not. Or I gotta wait 30 seconds to get them. So I switched back to the janky Rode Video Go. So, all right. So let's talk about what this phone actually can pull off, and why I'm now, after my initial like nagging and upset thoughts about it, I'm actually pretty happy and I'm embracing it. Okay, $1,500 aside, or however much I'm actually paying for the whole phone, it does a million things well and really fast. Let's talk first about Face ID. Face ID, when I think the first 10 came, iPhone 10 came out, it was a little bit slow, or so I've heard, and they've worked tremendously on speeding up Face ID, and you could tell it's stupid fast. Like if I'm barely looking at it, like it just like it works. The only thing that I had to get used to was like just sliding up the screen. It's so fast that you don't even have to think about unlocking your phone. You literally slide up, and by the time you're doing the slide up, it's already unlocked your phone, so that you don't think about it. You just think the action to unlock your phone is just slide up, not put in your passcode or not touch ID. Like you just slide up, and it's already unlocked pretty much. There's times when it's not, but it's 95% of the time it works really well. It works in nighttime. It just does a great job. I got the 256 storage. I don't know why anyone would ever get the 64 gig one. That's just like throwing your money away. But I did get the 256 one, and I haven't filled up much space at all. It's going to do really good for shooting these videos, so happy about that. The screen is pretty ridiculous. I'm not like one of the fans of big fancy fans about having to have the best and clearest screen. I don't know. I've just been using half-cracked screens this whole time, so it doesn't really matter to me about this beautiful new OLED display. It's nice, it's beautiful, but I don't really care. I look back at the iPhone 7 and I'm like, that's cool too. Like they both work. So that's cool. I did get a case for the phone. It's literally a black web case. I originally got a OtterBox, and that thing was garbage. I had to return that. And what else is there? The speed, it's silly fast. It's really fast. It's everything that you would want your phone to be. Portrait mode, it does a really great job. Like there's a lot of cool stuff going on there. So I will definitely be taking more photos with it. And then also the up and up on this is I secretly wanted to do a lot more lives, or be able to just record straight from my phone and upload it to YouTube. And now I can. Like the quality is good enough, the audio is good enough on both front and back. So that's there. Also like stories, stuff like that. It'll do all those well. So as far as $1,500 go, I think it's worth it. I think it's just a hard left from what they advertised it to be. As far as the camera goes for my own use, like that was the main thing. I was like, okay. I was like, when I saw the specs on the camera, like I was like, okay, 4K at 60 frames per second, sick. Shoots 240 frames per second for slow-mo, sick. First wide angle lens is a 1.8 aperture, like sick. The second one is a 2.2, sick. Like all those specs look so good, but the reality is because the sensor is so small, it can't handle that ISO, and that ISO is what it's gonna kill you every time. There is a way, of course, to not input much of any ISO into the thing by using Filmic Pro, but to me, it's like for me, using this camera isn't about making this camera it's about the convenience first. It's about the convenience where I don't have my big camera where I'm like taking shots, yada yada, so I pull out my phone or my RX100, and it's a little point and shoot that's on me at all times and gets pretty good video. So It does do pretty good video. Inside, it's okay video, but whatevs. Is there anything more I'd say about the iPhone Max? Who shouldn't get this phone? I don't think you should get this phone right now. I think that I was based on emotion and based on like, oh my goodness, this is finally coming true or whatever. I think that you should wait till the iPhone that's going to release in September. It's going to be the iPhone 11, which I'm sure is going to be crazy ridiculous. Watch, they're going to be like, we improved the camera, I'll buy 1 million. Right? So I'll be a little jelly then, but who cares? I think you should wait then and then buy whatever that is, or buy whatever the 10s Max is as it drops like $100 or $200 or whatever amount that people are willing to sell it for. Now, if you're on the budget path, this is who I think that you shouldn't buy the latest iPhones, period. If you're wanting to get a nice point and shoot camera and have a nice camera, and have a nice phone under $1,000, you're willing to drop $1,000. I'm gonna do 1,000. I'm gonna do 500. Okay, under $1,000, I think that you should buy a RX 100 5. I'm pretty sure you can get them for about $500 or $600. Or if you're actually, moreover, here we go. Here goes something a little bit different. Instead of buying the Sony RX 100, buy the Canon SL2. That's your bigger camera setup, but it does so much more than any of these phones or point and shoots can do. So buy that instead, because that's definitely $500 or $600, and then go onto Facebook Marketplace and buy you an iPhone that's unlocked for $200 or $300. Try to get you an iPhone 7 if you can, and make sure the storage is good, like 128 gigs. That'd be great. And that way you can get away with the setup. Like, that would be a perfect setup, period. Like, yeah. Huh. Okay, and then if you have $500 to spend, give me a second, I'm thinking on this one. Depends the route you're going. If you're like wanting to still get a really nice quality camera, I still think you can get an SL2. But if you're more looking to get like something that you just put in your pocket, that you're not worried about, you're not the avid filmmaker, but you do want something really nice for vlogging, and go with the RX 100. You probably can get one for about $600 now. Or just buy a nice phone. The line is becoming thin, but it's not there. I think that's my concluding thoughts on this. It's the iPhone is not. It's not there for video yet. I think it will be eventually, but I think it has a few more years. Okay, so that is Will Mosley's full comprehensive review of the iPhone X, or iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max. The XS and the XS Max, the only difference between those were the actual screen size. So in hindsight, I probably should have avoided the Max anyways, but whatevs. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope this helped you maybe make an educated decision on whether you should get a XS Max, or maybe hold off, or maybe get something different, whatever that might be. Alright, catch you guys on the next one. Peace.